Mumbai in India, and I did my MBA in Mumbai, and then I joined Sony Entertainment in Mumbai, and I was working with them for 5 years. I grew through the ranks, and I ended up in 5 years. I was the marketing manager in Sony, and after that, I was looking for growth in India. But again, one of the issues that I think I faced was that we are still very hierarchical in terms of how we want, how we grow people, and you have to grow. You have to be a certain age. You have to have certain years of experience, at least in non-technical fields, before you get to move on. Also, it's very difficult for you to change sectors in India. So I was already branded an entertainment person. So it was very difficult for me to break into any other sectors. So that's why I decided to start looking for opportunities outside India. That's when I got this opportunity with Unilever in Africa. And it was again marketing, but it was obviously FMCG. So I decided to move to Sudan in Africa, and I was in Africa for the last 3 years. And then, that's when I decided to do my MBA in IMD.
My background is technology. I'm from Delhi originally, and I graduated from DC DIT in Delhi. And after that, I worked in India for three years, and thereafter I moved to Belgium, where I was working for France Telecom. And from Belgium, after a year and a half, or a year rather, I moved to Switzerland to work for Cisco. And I worked for Cisco for 5 years, and then I started looking for an MBA program, and that's how. And for me, I was working right next door, so IMD. Searching for IMD was not that difficult. So it was a natural progression from Cisco, just move on to the closest B school here.
First is, personally, my motives for doing the MBA was that if you are an Indian national, then beyond a certain point, you need to get global exposure. You need to get an MBA out of one of the bigger institutes, because it gives you the opportunity, it gives you the network that you require to kind of work in any of these dream companies or dream organizations that you want to be in. Why IMD? Because I already had about 8 years of experience before I decided to do an MBA, and because IMD provides a 1-year MBA. That was very important for me. At a stage in your life when you're already doing well, you do not want to take 2 years of very productive time out of your career to do an MBA. Firstly, secondly, it's even though it's a very intense program, the fact that it kind of takes people with a certain years of experience, gives it a network which is very strong. So first of all, it's a very small program. You have only 90 people, and then you have 90 people who have amazing work experience. Like they've worked in all over the world in different organizations in different sectors. So while you bring a lot to the program, and the program gives you a lot, the third aspect is you have this amazing network that teaches you a lot. So that I thought I could only get in IMD. That was my reason to choose IMD.
A lot of learning is social, and it's also, as you mentioned, it's also learning from your peers, and there is a lot of bonding which happens outside the classroom. And because when you're in the class, it's just the academics, it's just the class part that you get into. So to leverage the network, really, you'll have to step outside the classroom to really get into to understand your colleagues. And that for me is really important. And when you talk about outside the class learning, so we had a 2-day leadership experiential that we did, and it helps me not just improve as a person, but also understand how other people feel, and respond to your actions. Because in a corporate environment, you'll be working as a part of a team, and most of the times the roles and responsibilities are not very clearly delineated. So what you want to do is have a feel of how would you react in those kind of scenarios. So for me, that experience really helped.
The only thing I would add to it is, like as he said, it's for me learning because management or like leadership. IMD is a leadership program apart from like a general management program, and it goes beyond learning what you learn in class. Obviously, what you learn in class is amazing. It's stuff that you would never get to do, and you cannot take time off, as I said, at this point in your career to actually learn these things. But learning for me is also social. The fact that you get to deal with people from all over the world,
Yes.
You see how they interact and what's their decision making style, how do they think about things, what's their perspective. That's very interesting in IMD. And then further to what the whole leadership experience, because we have leadership is so important, it's inherently built into everything that we do in IMD. You would be aware that we have an elective called personal development, where we have so we have that's outside class, I guess, because it's just a room where you have your own personal coach that you speak to once a week, and you basically, whatever the experience is, because it's so intense, the experiences that you're going through, you need a space outside of everything to kind of digest that, I would say, and like make sense of it with somebody who has a different perspective on things. So that outside class is one of the best things that IMD offers.
Yeah, and just to add to that, I mean, Darshana mentioned that the class is really diverse. But to give an example, most of the times we have, I mean, in a class of 90, you have more than 40 nationalities. So it's a really, really diverse class. I mean, a lot of schools say that they are very diverse, but if you look at the sheer number of nationalities, and given the small class size, it's really incredible. And one another aspect of out of the classroom learning would be the integrated exercise that we did. So it is a 2-day marathon non-stop, and you get a real life or lifelike case to work on in your study groups, and you have 48 hours to come up with a solution, and you're really grilled on that. So again, this thing happens outside the classroom. You manage your own time. Nobody's dictating you how many hours out of 48 you need to spend in the class or in the college. But again, I mean, this is something that you really learn a lot from. I would say that it is rigorous, but I would not agree that it is difficult to cope. I mean, once you get into a program, before you come here, you know that it's going to be really rigorous, right? I mean, that you'll have to spend at least, I would say, 15 to 16 hours a day, because 8 hours is just the classroom, and then many times you have the assignments to work on, and a lot of different works, but you have different, but then again, I mean, everything is integrated into this experience. So when you said about career, looking for job opportunities, I would put that as part of the learning at the institute itself, and rather than treating it as something external to the process. Because the thing is, I mean, like day for yesterday, we had a class leveraging the network within the class session, where we all, would say, okay, these are the industries that we want to target, and then somebody or more than one person from the class will stand up and say, yeah, we can help you with that. So it's leveraging the internal network that we have. So you spend 2 hours on that, but then it is something that I would regard as an integral part of the program itself, rather than something external. So everything put together around 15 to 16 hours a day. To start with, I'm sure it would get a bit easier in doing the latter part of the program, where you'd probably get away with 12 hours a day. But still, it leaves you around 8 hours to sleep if you want, right? So that's not too bad.
Well, one of the advantages, while IMD has a smaller class size, what it has is it has a very qualitative group of people who are alumni. So what IMD alumni network is very close-knit. We have, if we write to an alumni, we would always get a reply on something, but obviously we won't write to them right now. We have to treat that with respect, but they're very approachable. We are taught to be very approachable as alumni in future. Program that happens in summer, where you basically have a lot of people coming into IMD, where we get a chance to present some of the things that we've done. We get to network, and I think that's more than enough. Because all of us come with very good credentials. if you have the right network and if you meet the right people, then it's very helpful. And as I said, they're very open and approachable.
And to add to that, I mean, regularly we have the alumni come over and talk to us. So tomorrow, no, day after tomorrow rather, on Monday, we have the CEO of Nestle coming in, who is also an IMD alumni, to talk with us. Then we had a lot of other people come in. We had CVO of Cisco come in to talk with us, who's also an IMD grad. So many times you have opportunities to interact with really successful people who are also very approachable, and I think IMD is really good at leveraging the alumni network. And I mean, it's not just one particular geography that we are in Europe, and then we restrict ourselves to European people. So we had a chat with the CEO of Odebrecht, which is one of the big companies in Brazil. So who's again an IMD grad. So I mean, we have had a lot of opportunities to interact with alumni, not just the famous ones, but again, people who are working in and around the area or in industries that we want to target. And like Darshana mentioned, they are really approachable. You send them an email and you get a prompt response, and they are kind enough to offer to help you in any way that they can. Yeah, each of us, we get a personal coach. So who looks into your, who gets a personal narrative from you written at the start of the program, and then he starts to see the areas for improvements, and it's a exercise that you both sit down together and do, and he would challenge you on a few of those points that you have in your narrative, and then he would suggest areas for improvement for you, and then you both work on it. I mean, so you work on your side, and the coach is doing the monitoring that, and and checking how well you're progressing with your goals. And we also get, each of us, we have 20 hours of time with analyst here, who's a psychoanalyst, to see what kind of person you are, what kind of leadership qualities you have, and what kind of things that you should work on to help you become a better team player or a leader. So which is also very useful, because for me, I mean, I personally found it quite useful, because I already knew I had some areas of improvement. All of us have, I guess. And what my coach has been able to do with me is to make me work on them. And I can already see not just a bit of improvement, but a lot of tangible improvements, and which not only I see in myself, but let's say my friends or my family, and even my colleagues here at IMD see in me. And so that is very helpful. It's again an aspect of personal coaching that you get, leadership development at IMD, which is very unique to IMD. Many people are looking for a career switch in terms of industry itself, but a lot of people would look for a change in function or geography. There are people, which is not to say that career switch is, industry switch is not possible at all, because a lot of people, whether they want it or not, eventually when they come join the program and they discover that maybe that industry looks quite exciting, attractive, and they decide to switch the industries. But that's not the goal with which they arrive at IMD mostly. So I'd say that 70% of people come with a goal just to, let's say, have a change in the function and geography, but a lot of people do manage to switch industries as well, because let's say I come in with an IT background, and then I find that, okay, oil and gas looks quite attractive, and see if I can get a job with Shell, for instance. And people have managed to do that. People more often than not, they come up with a particular set of ideas, but during the program they discover new things, and they change their mind completely and go with something quite different from what they had imagined. So again, there is a lot of room for maneuver there. So some people manage to change all three: industry, function, and geography. But most of the people manage to change at least two.
Yeah. And the other thing is, one of the objectives of a few people who came, including me, I was in FMCG. I have a marketing background. I probably would want to be in marketing, but what happens is, after a certain point in your career of like 6, 7 years, 8 years, even if you are from the industry, to grow beyond a certain point, you need some education. Like you need education to graduate to the general management level, because everybody is either is functional, either supply chain or marketing or sales or finance. But if you want to graduate to the next level, you need an experience like this to break through that barrier, and that's what kind of IMD provides you, apart from obviously, as Adi said, geography and function and what did you say? Industry. Sorry.
Yeah. Right now, it's looking much better than, let's say, it was a year ago or 2 years ago. In terms of the job prospects, there are a lot of. I mean, I don't think finding a good job is a problem for an IMD grad. IMD has a really strong brand in Europe, and people are able to leverage both the brand itself and the alumni network. And so most of people have been able to land the job, not just a job, but the job that they really wanted. My wife, for instance, is an IMD grad. She passed out in 2012, and she's working in Luxembourg right now with Amazon. And so, I mean, and this is the job that she really wanted. So I think job-wise, I mean, irrespective of the economic scenario, it's not that difficult. Although, I mean, it could be at times challenging. It might take you, I mean, you might not have a job, let's say, in December, but let's say by January, February, or at least within 3 months of graduating, you'll have the job that you're looking for, most likely.
I would add that if you really are doing an MBA, then and if you think that economic conditions are not good for you to get a job, then your best bet is IMD. Like, you should do your MBA from one of the best institutes in the world, because if there's a chance of you getting a job in Europe, it's probably would be through IMD. Yeah.